I'm Berks County Commissioner Christian Leinbach, and I want to welcome you to the Commissioners Board meeting for May 25th. We're broadcasting live via Microsoft Teams live event, also on BCTV, as well as Facebook and YouTube Live. We'll call the meeting to order, beginning with a moment of silence, followed by a pledge to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any additions or corrections for the May 11th, 2023 meeting minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. We had 4 executive sessions, 2 on May 23rd. The first one dealt with personnel. The second one dealt with personnel and litigation. And 2 on May the 24th. The first one dealt with personnel and litigation. The second one dealt with personnel. At this time, I'll recognize my executive assistant, Anne Marie Grill, to read the public comment policy.
Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. Public comment will be accepted in person and through the Q&A function. Please include your first name, last name, and municipality for all comments. Any comments without name and municipality will not be considered. Each citizen can submit 1 comment. Comment length is dictated by limitations of the platform being used: Teams, Q&A, Facebook, and YouTube. In-person comments will be accepted first, followed by comments submitted virtually. The meeting comment period is limited to a total of 30 minutes, including both in-person and virtual comments. This time period may be extended at the discretion of the board. Please be concise. Comments that are germane to county business will be read during the meeting and should not be considered to be interactive dialogue with the commissioners. The county solicitor shall be the final arbiter of whether a comment is germane and should be read. Any commissioner response to public comment will be done at the discretion of the commissioners.
Well, none of that was heard outside of this room. So for the sake of those that are online and listening, I did not have my microphone on. I will begin again. I don't know, it wasn't on at all. So we've approved the minutes. I went over 4 executive sessions, 2 on 5/23, 1 dealing with personnel, 1 dealing with personnel and litigation, and then 2 on 5/24, 1 dealing with personnel and litigation, and 1 dealing with just personnel. I think everyone heard the public comment policy that was read. There are no public comments on the agenda items in person or online. And so we're back to the agenda. Item 1, authorizing under that budget department. And again, my apologies for not having the mic on. Item A, under budget department, adopt a resolution authorizing 2022 transfers in the amount of $1,109,612. 2022 appropriations in the amount of $668,546. 2023 transfers in the amount of $113,294, and 2023 appropriations in the amount of $478,615 per listing dated May the 19th of 2023. There's one item listed under Human Resources. Item 1, authorize the transfer of Colleen Painter, payroll analyst, to Human Resources assistant in Human Resources. There are several items listed under the Commissioners. Item A, adopt a resolution authorizing revenue from the general fund to be deposited with Manufacturers and Traders Trust Company as the escrow agent to defease a portion of the general obligation bond series of 2019 in the amount determined by the Chief Financial Officer. Item B, and I will note here, this is being done in order to save over $1.3 million over the life of the bond. So this is not new debt. This is done solely to save the county and taxpayers money. Item B, adopt a resolution authorizing a matched fund contribution of $13,401.70 representing Berks County Planning Commission, Reading Area Transportation Study, Eastern required portion for the PA Freight Alliance Multi-Regional Freight Infrastructure Plan Study. This study will document and identify the origins, routes, and destinations of traffic moving through Berks County. Item C, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute an agreement between the County of Berks and the Berks County Industrial Development Authority to guarantee repayment to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Redevelopment Assistance Capital Program of any ineligible expenditures made by Cambridge Lee LLC in Onalani Township, PA, out of the funds provided by RACP grant in the amount of $1,500,000 from the Commonwealth's RACP fund to the Berks IDA for the copper tube cleaning line expansion project. In the event neither Berks IDA nor the Reading Housing Authority has sufficient funds to reimburse such ineligible expenditures. Again, I want to explain this is something that has to be done by law. Over many, many decades of this program, the county has never had to pay for expenditures that were not reimbursed, and that is largely due to both internal controls in the redevelopment authority, in this case, the Berks County Industrial Development Authority, and Commonwealth controls that make that nearly impossible. I won't say completely impossible because I don't think there is such a thing, but it has not happened in decades. Item D, adopt a resolution authorizing the reappointment of Michelle Richards, Wyomissing, Pennsylvania, to the Berks County Convention Center Authority Board for a 4-year term expiring on August 27th of 2027. Item E, adopt a resolution authorizing Kevin S. Barnhart, Chief Operations Officer, to execute the fiscal year 2022 state and local cybersecurity grant program local government entities consent agreement, expressly consent to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania through the Pennsylvania Emergency Planning Agency to continue grant funding for the Albert Sensor and Confence existing projects in Berks County. Is that word confence right? I'll take it as it's correct. The next item, item F, I'm going to ask Mike Malinowski from EH&D to present this particular item. This is something we do on an annual basis, and I think it's important that our residents understand the process that we go through in quoting our risk pool insurance.
There you go. Yeah, as you know, and as we communicated via email, I mean, we start this process in January each year. And like anything else this day and age, we handle numerous counties across the Commonwealth, and it's been an extremely rough renewal season for most of our clients just because of shortages of supplies, them on a property rate. But in 2013 and 2014, when we made the decision to go to the P Corp for CCAP, was a great decision because right now we have counties that actually can't even secure coverage because of losses and exposures. It's not like when you go out and buy your auto insurance and you can go to 15 carriers. We may have 3 or 4 that will write a county because they don't like prisons, they don't like sheriff's departments. It's just a rough exposure. But P Corp has made a lot of changes to the program this year. We reviewed them at length. We sat with Bob, who's always been a huge asset for us to gather the information. So the overall pool increased about 14.5%. Our increase is similar to that for the county. However, we have about 18% increase in our rateable exposures. For example, our total property values were $607 million at the last renewal. Now they're over $700 million based on the price of things. That's the reality of it. So on a whole, we're pretty happy with the renewal compared to what we're seeing out in the marketplace. So, and P Corp was actually built by CCAP to handle these times. There's 58 members in the pool right now. They're not really, we tried to get other counties in the pool that they won't take. So it's a pretty exclusive group. And this is why it was made to help county government during the we call hard market time. One of the benefits we were able to do this year, we were able to eliminate a $65,000 policy for our covered bridges. P Corp agreed to handle that for $9,000 compared to the $65,000 we were paying. So that was a benefit. Our values on those covered bridges was around $5 million for the 5 of them. Now we're insuring them for $14 million, which is their true appraised value we got done this year. So those are some of the highlights and high level things. And I know you have the executive summary, but we did a little because they changed the way the form's made, not to bore you with insurance stuff. So we did talk to some carriers also besides P Corp just to see like what they thought. But even some of the largest public entity carriers like a Travelers, they just don't want to get into this business. So the decision Berks made back, several years ago was a great decision. We continue to get the maximum discounts for risk manager credits. So we're doing everything we can do to control the costs. The cyber, they made a change to their cyber. We talked at length with Bob about that. They limited that to $2 million, which it was $5 million, I think, Krista, in the past. But we have to do the things that are very clear for us to continue to get this coverage with the program. We have to do the things like the MFA and the things I know the county's working on in order to get that coverage. So on a whole, those are the major highlights of the program. I don't know if Bob is very involved in it or Krista from our claims. And we went through all the forms because it is a big change. They went from what's called an occurrence-based policy to a claims-made form, which is a little unique for some of the coverages. But yeah, and looking back, I personally been handling the program since 2006. I think, Bob, when you started, 2006. And our budget for the workers' comp and this program was $3.8 million. I think from 2006, our budget for this year was a little over $3 million. So in 17 years, we've gone, the County of Berks has been a model for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So it's a tribute to the team of all of the employees to be able to produce a result like that. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But in a 6-month process, I try to wrap it up in 3 or 4 minutes. So.
Well, we appreciate that. EHD, for those that may wonder, doesn't lock us into any particular carrier. Their job is to work in the best interest of the county, ultimately in the best interest of our residents and taxpayers, to find us the coverage that works for us. You've also, and you noted this, but you have been very involved with not just the finance side, but with the HR side on the risk management component, the COO on the risk management, and that shows up in the workman's comp. Even I am amazed. I would have been thrilled if it went up 10%. Yeah. And it actually went from 3.8 million in 18 years down to about 3 million. Yep. So that's a compliment to department heads, everyone. Absolutely. Really doing the right thing when there's an incident, reporting it through the proper process, safety, health and safety. It's a critical area.
Yeah. And we handle, like I mentioned, numerous counties that by far, for your size, perform the best. It's just, and that is a tribute, like you said, Commissioner, to everybody on the team.
Well, thank you very much, and appreciate your annual explanation and the details on the numbers.
Yeah, and any further questions, you know how to get us. So,
any questions, comments from my colleagues?
No, I just want to thank you for your work. And something that's important about P Corp to know is that the P Corp the board is made up of member counties. So the goal of P Corp is not to make a profit. The goal of P Corp is to be able to provide a coverage for counties at a rate that's affordable, but meeting at the same time the needs of the insurance. And something that has made the policies increase is the reinsurance coverage. There's many factors that go into there, some of the reinsurance, so we've had to make certain changes to that, but at the same time trying to keep the policy amount low to not have such an impact on the county's finances. So.
You may want to share, you represent Berks County on the board.
Correct, yes, I'm one of the P Corp board members. Yeah. So thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Mike. Thank you, Krista. And so item F, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute the 2023-2024 renewal quotation to P Corp. That's Pennsylvania County's Risk Pool, a program of the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania, covered bridges coverage, and excess crime coverage with travelers insurance. This includes the appropriate quarterly compensation agreement presented by EHD, who charges a discounted fee in lieu of accepting carrier commissions. This fee remains unchanged from the current agreement. And item G, adopt a resolution authorizing a letter to the Honorable Josh Shapiro, Governor, regarding lead levels in the soil near the site of Exide Technologies, which we believe is a major environmental issue in and around the borough of Laureldale and Muhlenberg Township. Item 2, a motion to authorize execution of contract agreements and amendments as set forth on the contract agenda listing dated May the 22nd of 2023. There are a total of 22 contracts. There are 2 with the Area Agency on Aging, 1 with the Berksheim, 2 with Career Link, 6 with Children and Youth Services, 1 with Children and Youth Services and Juvenile Probation, 1 with Court Administration, 1 with the Department of Agriculture, 1 with the Department of Emergency Services, 1 with Facilities and Operations, 2 with Information Systems, 2 with the Berks County Jail, 1 with Juvenile Probation, and 1 with Parks and Rec. Finally, item 3, a motion to authorize execution of the payments and electronic transfers is set forth on the Controller's Office voucher listing dated May the 25th of 2023.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. We'll move now to reports of our treasurer and controller, and we'll begin with the treasurer's report. And I'll recognize Socrates Georgiadis, acting county treasurer.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Today, our general accounts hold $288,574,791.78. We have a balance to clear of $4,679,218.14, leaving the county with a balance of $283,895,573.64.
Thank you very much, Socrates. We'll move now to our county controller, Sandy Graffius, with the controller's report.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I have 2 weeks because we didn't meet last week. So for May the 18th, we had a payroll of $4,970,141. We had a tax collector payroll of $100,067.73. We had accounts payable of $22,307,190.24 for a grand total of $27,277,331.47. That was a biggie, gang. Now then, for May the 25th, we have total accounts payable of $10,154,367.86. We did have an employee payroll additional, $4,970,141.23. Let me see if that's just what, oh, I just reported that for last week. That's on twice because of the overlap in the date. For a grand total of $15,124,509.09. The end.
Thank you very much, Sandy. And with that, we'll move to our Chief Operations Officer, Kevin Barnhart.
Thank you, Commissioner Linebaugh. We have nothing to offer at this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that quickly, we are to Commissioner's comments, and we'll begin with Commissioner Michael Rivera.
Thank you, Commissioner Linebaugh. I have a few items here. Just to remind everyone that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Mental Health Awareness Month has been observed in the United States since 1949, every year during the month of May. Together, we fight stigma, provide support, educate the public, and advocate for policies that support the millions of people in the United States affected by mental illness. Today, we have two guests from Wyomissing High School who will be giving remarks shortly during the public comment period regarding Teen Mental Health Awareness Day, which is May the 23rd, 2 days ago. Their names are Tyler Knoll and Vanessa Aguay, and they are part of the PA Youth Advocacy Network. The PA Youth Advocacy Network convenes youth and youth-serving organizations from across the state to advocate for mental health systems change. One of the initiatives under the network is the Teen Mental Health Awareness Day, in which high school youth draft a statewide proclamation as well as county proclamations to recognize and highlight things they feel are important to mental health. The inaugural day started in 2021 and has continued every year since. And a key component of the day is being able to share their perspectives with elected officials. And actually, both Tyler and Vanessa came in before the meeting. We were speaking with them about mental health. We presented them with their proclamation, which they put together, and hopefully they'll read part of it when they have their comments there. But we're honored to have them here today and share about the importance of mental health, especially within our youth and teen. It needs something that needs to be addressed, and people need to be made aware of that it is something that is real. On that same topic, the Berks County, there's a coalition in Berks County. It's the Berks County Suicide Prevention Task Force, which was developed in 2015, and it's called Are You OK? Letter R, U, and then OK. The task force is a group of community members with common goals who have come together to focus on the needs of our community so that we can eliminate the stigma of mental illness and put an end to suicide. Each of the members of the task force is a key part of obtaining the goal that and each of them represent a part of our larger community. If you need more information on Are You OK? You can call 610-379-2007. Or to learn more about Are You OK Berks, you can visit ruokberks.com. And that's the letter R, the letter U, OK, Berks.com. There's a lot of good information there. So please, if you know anyone that is going or may have a mental health situation, please don't let it go. Ignore it. Do something about it. Also want to take a moment to congratulate two schools here in Berks County. About 2 or 3 months ago, we spoke about the What's So Cool About Manufacturing competition here in Berks County. Well, 3 of our schools made it to the state competition. So congratulations to them. Out of the state competition, the 3rd place winner was the Conrad Weiser Middle School, and they did their video on John F. Martin and Sons. And the 2nd place winner statewide was Boyertown Middle School, and they did theirs on R.M. Palmer. So congratulations to them on winning this statewide award. This past Saturday, I also had the opportunity to attend the 75th Berks County Armed Forces Day Parade. Missing. I want to thank the VA office for being there. Ken LeBron was there with some other volunteers as well to celebrate. Also want to thank the Sheriff's Department for their support there. They were there supporting the Why I'm Missing, and West Reading police departments with blocking the roads and directing traffic and so forth. So thank you to Sheriff Wignick and his deputies for being there to support this great event. One last item, this weekend we are celebrating Memorial Day on Monday. Memorial Day is an important holiday in the United States that is observed on the last Monday in May each year. The main purpose of Memorial Day is to honor and remember the men and women who have died while serving the United States military. The origins of Memorial Day can be traced back to the aftermath of the Civil War, when communities across the country began holding ceremonies and decorating the graves of fallen soldiers. Over time, Memorial Day became an official federal holiday and has since become a time for Americans to reflect on the sacrifices made by those who have served in the military. And there are several reasons why Memorial Day is an important holiday. One, to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Memorial Day provides an opportunity for Americans to pay their respects to those who have died while serving in the military. It is a time to remember the sacrifices made by these brave men and women to honor their memory. Second, recognizing the contribution of the military. Memorial Day is also a time to recognize the contributions of the military to our country. It is a time to acknowledge the sacrifices made by military families and to show gratitude for the freedoms that have been secured through their service. Three, strengthening national unity. Memorial Day is a time for Americans to come together in a spirit of unity and patriotism. It is a time to set aside political differences and focus on what unites us as a country. And fourth, continuing the legacy of those who have served. Memorial Day is an opportunity to continue the legacy of those who have served in the military by supporting and caring for current members of the military and their families. It is a time to reflect on the ongoing need of support and services for those who have served and to take action to ensure that they receive the care and resources they need. In summary, Memorial Day is an important holiday that provides an opportunity for Americans to honor and remember those who have died while serving in the military and to recognize the contributions of the military to the nation. It is a time to come together in a spirit of unity and gratitude and to continue the legacy of those who have served by supporting current members of the military and their families. So this Monday, when you're out celebrating or having your picnic, sharing with your family, please take a moment to remember what we're celebrating, to remember those who paid the ultimate sacrifice for a nation and their family members as well. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Rivera. I will move to Commissioner Lasintza-Helmick.
Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach, and thank you, Commissioner Rivera. That was beautiful. We have to keep in mind, yes, we have a long holiday weekend, but why and what is the purpose? And it should resonate within all of us deeply. I would like to begin, I think, in chronological order, which was this past weekend. I was invited to do the ceremonial first kick, and that was for Reading United's women's team. So this is the inaugural game of the inaugural team of women's Reading United. And for those of you who may not know, we do have a premier minor league in Berks, and we now have a women's league. So we're very proud of these women who are representing us. The games take place at Alvernia University. It's a very family-friendly oriented opportunity. And if you are interested in tuning into either the men's or the women's games, you can go to readingunitedac.com. So I thank them for the invitation and wish them a wonderful season ahead. Second is the Reading Science Center. So again, for those of you, we go from recreational sports to science and STEAM and STEM. This past Saturday, we had a ribbon cutting at the Reading Science Center, which is located here on Penn Street, to celebrate the opening of a superhero science exhibit in partnership with PBS Channel 39. And so really an incredible opportunity to educate and advocate for our youth and their exposure to STEAM and STEM in our community, and wonderful partnerships, with PBS to do that. So make sure that you check out the programming there. The PASS program is an agricultural component of what we do here in Berks County, and we were invited by Senator Judy Schwenk to celebrate and advocate for increased funding in the budget that's coming up for the PASS program, which is the Pennsylvania Agricultural Surplus System Program. So always a lot of acronyms when you're dealing with the government. I like to try to spell them out for you. This is a very unique program that came to my attention several years ago, and it is a purchasing program that is funded by the government, purchasing directly from farmers here in Berks County. And as you know, agriculture is a growth sector here for us in our economy, and it purchases the items, that the agricultural providers are growing or producing, and then it gives the ability to have them distributed through our food banks. So this is a program that unites our farmers and those who are the most food insecure. This is a very important program and a demonstration of what I think is a circular economy, which is really critical for establishing ourselves and strengthening ourselves here in the community. So not only does this donate the food to those who need wholesome, fresh products, but it also helps our farmers in buying their products and then, reducing food waste as well. Everything okay?
Yep.
Very good.
Camera was frozen for a while.
Me for about the last 5 minutes.
Just want to make sure my microphone's on, everything's great. Okay. But I get very passionate when I talk about agriculture, and this is really a phenomenal program. So I want to thank Senator Schwenk for hosting this, and also for our representatives, Cepeda Freitas and Joswiak, who this will come in front of them. So I want to encourage them to consider supporting that increased funding. I think we were all, by the skin of our teeth, on time for our Greater Reading Chamber Alliance dinner that was hosted. And again, this is really important because this is where we focus on economic development and entrepreneurship. There were over 800 people in attendance. Well done to the GRCA. Their keynote speaker is somebody you may have heard of, Candace Nelson. So she was the moderator and judge on Cupcake Wars, and really an inspirational conversation to, I think, encourage some members who had been there for over 100 years of membership with our chamber. So really showcasing the force and spirit of entrepreneurism here in Berks County. And so then I want to always advocate for our programming in our Berks County park system, because as we talk about mental health awareness, sometimes it just takes a walk in the park to make sure that you ground yourself and come back to being the best version of you. And so I always try to let you know about what's happening. So June in the parks, we have a couple of things coming up on Saturday, June 3rd. There's a ranger-led hike. There's an open house at the Beadler House. And Sunday, June 4th, Fleet Freak training, running clinic. I once trained and successfully ran a half marathon, and I did all of that training at Grings Mill on those cinder trails. So I'm very familiar. I encourage you to visit our park systems for your enjoyment. Last but not least, in case you may have missed it, last week we had the primary elections. And I would be remiss if I did not take a moment to thank everybody who went out to vote and recognize especially the hard work and dedication of our election services department. They did an excellent job, led by Ann Norton, the director, and the assistant director, Stephanie Weaver. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Job well done.
Thank you very much, Lucine, and thank you for your compliment of our elections department, especially in your role as chair of the Board of Elections. A couple things a little bit repetitive. What's so cool about manufacturing? All three of us had the privilege of attending the statewide award ceremony at the Whitaker Center in Harrisburg, and it was pretty amazing to be able to see out of first, second, and third place, 2 of the 3 were Berks County schools. Boyertown Middle School was number 2 with the R.M. Palmer video, and Conrad Weiser number 3 with the John F. Martin video. And because they were a winner, we were able to see both of those videos and everyone else that was there in their entirety. We were able also to get a photo afterwards with both of the schools and the students. Just really proud of the students and their success at the statewide level. One thing I want to mention about the GRCA dinner, Candace Nelson was, I think, a phenomenal speaker. I love to hear people's stories of how they got to where they are. And there was something very, very familiar about Candace's story. She and her husband got together as partners and started the Sprinkles Cupcake Company. It kind of reminds me of 2 people locally, Sock and Lucine Sahelnick, who partnered and began the Great American Creamery, which is right over here next to the Doubletree. Who knows, maybe someday you'll be on Ice Cream Wars? It could be. But I encourage you, when you run into somebody that has had success in their life, ask them about it. Ask them about what they did. Candace's story wasn't all easy. She was in baking, then went to college and went to banking, and then left banking, came back to baking. And if you want more, you'll have to go online to read about her. But I just thought it was a great, great story. Memorial Day is coming up. I'm going to be participating, and I think you are. I don't know why I'm missing.
Yeah.
So Saturday morning, why I'm missing always does their Memorial Day parade the Saturday before Memorial Day. On Monday, I think we're in all different places. I'll be participating in the Fleetwood Memorial Day program, followed by the parade. And while Commissioner Rivera went into some history, I want to just share a little bit more. Memorial Day correctly did begin as a result of families and friends visiting the graves of fallen Civil War soldiers. After they took flowers and put flowers on graves, eventually started putting flags on graves. A side note, that as I was looking at this, in July 1 through 3 of 1913 was the 50th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg. And on those 3 days in 1913, 50,000 Civil War veterans from the North and the South met in Gettysburg. Can you imagine? 50,000 men. And they remembered. Memorial Day is about remembering, and specifically, and it does frustrate me a little bit, people get confused with and I'm going to call them patriotic military holidays. There are 4 of them. Armed Forces Day celebrates the active armed forces today. We just had the Armed Forces Day parade. Memorial Day is for those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice. They've given their lives. 4th of July, while is very much patriotic and often military involvement, it's a celebration of the founding of our country, the Declaration of Independence. And Veterans Day, November the 11th, is the day we celebrate everyone that is serving and has served as a veteran. Memorial Day is, by its very nature, a somber time. And probably one of the most popular symbols of Memorial Day is a red flower. Some people know what it is, some people don't. It's a poppy. And the poppy comes from probably the most famous poem tied to Memorial Day, and it's called In Flanders Field. And it was written by a Canadian physician, Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae, in World War I. He didn't survive World War I, but his poem did. And it says, in Flanders Field, where poppies blow, between the crosses row on row that mark our spot, and in the sky, the larks still singing sweetly fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunsets glow, loved and were loved. And now we lie in Flanders Field. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you, from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Field. Let us remember. With that, are there any comments from row officers? Hearing none, we will go to public comment. I do want to note our normal rules end up, they give their name, the municipality they're from, and we limit people to 3 minutes. We have 2 speakers, and we already referenced both of them earlier and met with them before the meeting. And because of the focus on Mental Health Month, we've already let them know we're not going to time them. They are each going to be sharing with us today. We're fortunate to have Vanessa Aguay, Wyomissing, Pennsylvania, and her topic is the Mental Health Proclamation. If you could step up to the microphone and you can pull it down.
Pull it down a little bit.
I think it's on.
Yes,
Yes,
I think so. Okay, well, thank you so much for having us here. And it's so important that we are able to share out our perspective as youth to address mental health. Noticing from the pandemic coming, the rate of hospital emergency room visits for children's deliberate self-harm rose by 329% between the years of 2007 and 2019. Most children in America do not receive mental health treatment, even though that they may need it. And children of color are also less likely than their peers to receive mental health treatment when they need it. Unfortunately, Pennsylvania and Berks County is no exception to that, and that is why it is essential and imperative for us to prioritize mental health treatment and to address the mental health stigma for all students and for all youth that are affected by it. Youth today are exposed to harmful stigma surrounding mental health, and a time formative to one's intellectual and emotional development is essential to providing support and to be completely seen when someone is affected by poor mental health or by a mental health disorder. But sometimes all you need is to ask okay or to connect them to the resources that we do have available here. A lot of the times the resources that we do have available here in Berks County are really significant and are impactful, and that's why it is our job to make sure that they are known and that they are connected to the students that are needed. I wanted to highlight 2 statements made in the proclamation that Tyler Knoll and I wrote here, and it is that to combat stigma and encourage help seeking, it is important to provide support and promote available mental health resources for youth of all identities and cultures. And whereas a key tool in reducing the stigma surrounding mental health and the significance of the mental health crisis in America is implementing mental health education in schools. And whereas there is currently no legislation that protects teens in Pennsylvania by enabling them to take school-excused mental health days, which would offer more avenues of rest and recovery. As a working group, we have been working on understanding how different communities are impacted by mental health, distinctly through work that includes surveys and pledges, and even meeting with legislators like Senator Schwank on the type of legislation that is being worked on to address youth mental health. It is important that we understand that a stigma does exist, a stigma that does not allow students to be connected to the resources that do exist, and a stigma that enables youth to think that their mental health isn't as important as physical mental health. And so that is one of the most important things that we can push out, is that mental health is physical health. So allowing students to prioritize their mental health allows them to connect to the resources that we do have here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Vanessa. Now we'll recognize Tyler Knoll. Tyler is from West Reading and also is going to discuss the mental health proclamation. Tyler.
Hello, my name is Tyler Knoll. I wanted to mention that while speaking with Commissioner Leinbach before the meeting, that he mentioned the great magnitude of people affected by mental health. And that's no different for Berks County, with, as I wrote in the proclamation, over 40% of youth feeling sad or depressed most days. And I could say that throughout the last 2 years, I've been part of those affected by mental health. And what originally kept me from speaking up and just getting the help I needed was the stigma behind it, which is part of the reason I joined the group and am so proud to be in a county that is recognizing mental health as a key issue and accepting this proclamation that we wrote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tyler. Want to recognize Sarah. No, I'm not asking you, just putting you on the spot to speak, but you're overseeing this initiative and are here with Tyler and Vanessa. Really appreciate your commitment. I know.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. There is one item online. It is from Nick in Ole. How come when you authorize transfers, et cetera, you don't state from where to where? There's two answers. One, we have our CFO here, so he can give a little bit more detailed answer, but there is information that is part of the packet beyond just the agenda that is at the front of it. And Carmen, that's posted online as well. Yeah, so if you look online, countyofberks.com, partway down the home page, there are several large icons. Go to the public meeting icon and look at the agenda for this meeting, and you'll find additional detail. But Bob, you can explain why I don't read the detail.
Well, yeah, I was good. You said everything I was going to say.
Okay.
We do list online exactly where it comes from and where it goes. We also put an explanation for every budget appropriation and transfer that explains why we're making those recommendations. So that is available online, and that's primarily the reason why you don't read all the detail at the public meeting. It's available. If there was a specific question regarding specific transfer, we'd be, or appropriation, we would be happy to address that. But
absolutely,
that's primarily the reason why it's not read line by line by line. As the commissioners know, sometimes when we're closing out some of the human service funds for the year, and we need to move money where they actually spent their money for programming, we can have a pretty exhaustive list of line items. When we carry over budget authorization from last year that represents services weren't received, we already placed the order. We carry that over. That can be pages of line items.
I was going to say, there are times that if that budget item would take 3 to 4 times as long to read as the rest of the agenda.
It would. So that's primarily there, but it is available. It's always available for public inspection.
Yep.
In detail. So
thank you very much, Bob. Appreciate that. There are no other public comments in person or online. Yes, Commissioner Sahelnik.
Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. Typically we don't make a comment a moment to acknowledge and thank Vanessa and Tyler for coming. I couldn't be more proud as a graduate from Wyoming, and this year, don't do the math, It's my 25th anniversary. So I think it's just a testament to the two of you, specifically sharing personal testimony. There's nothing that's going to break the negative stigma of mental health awareness than all of us sharing the testimony of what we experience every day. So thank you for doing that. Your advocacy is the first step in making a difference. And I've written down here that there is no legislation, and that's something we need to work on and work towards. I hope you'll be willing to continue to work on that and advocate for that in your bright futures ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
The meeting stands adjourned.